And another shot fired in the U.S.-Canada trade war.
What if America's closest ally suddenly turned into its biggest trade obstacle?
I believe the tariff.
Overnight, Canada, the U.S.'s largest trading partner, has tightened tariffs.
We will continue to work constructively for a deal.
Imposed stricter regulations and disrupted supply chains, leaving entire industries in shambles. Now, 7 U.S. states are on the brink of economic crisis. Dramatic pause. For decades, the U.S. and Canada operated as inseparable economic partners, until now. In a sweeping policy shift, Ottawa has raised tariffs, enforced tougher inspections, and prioritized trade with Europe and Asia over American goods. What happened next was a silent but devastating blow to states that rely on Canadian markets for survival. From Michigan's auto industry to Texas's energy exports, businesses are scrambling as shipments stall, contracts vanish, and profits collapse. This isn't just about trade, it's about leverage, and for the first time, America is on the losing end. So, which states are most at risk? And is Canada's move a defensive play, or a calculated strike at the heart of U.S. economic dominance? Let's find out. It was something nobody had anticipated. Canada, the U.S.'s good neighbor and main trading partner, abruptly changed its trade policies, sending the U.S. economy into a tailspin. Without any warning or negotiation, Canada slapped on tariffs and held onto shipments for new inspections, while tweaking regulations to keep American goods at bay. This isn't just a little trade spat. It feels like a surprise attack. And shockingly, Washington seems to have been blindsided by it all. What's happening here isn't just Canada playing with its trade rules a bit. It's methodically dismantling the very foundation of various American industries. Take Michigan, for example, where car plants are slowing down because Canada has apparently just discovered issues with American-made engines emissions. Or Texas, where oil shipments worth $2 billion are stuck in administrative quicksand, while Canada speeds up imports from Saudi Arabia. And let's not forget about the dairy farmers in Wisconsin, who are forced to throw milk away because the usual trucks carrying cheese are stuck in traffic jams, thanks to unexpected safety checks. This isn't the kind of fair competition we're used to in the free market. This looks more like economic warfare fought with paperwork. The statistics are stark. North Dakota's wheat exports to Canada? They've plummeted 47% just in the first quarter of the year, which is a massive problem for a state where farming makes up 25% of its economy. Ohio's car parts sector. It just lost a whopping $800 million in orders from Canada overnight. New York's pharma companies? They're now dealing with Canada suddenly asking for more tests on drugs that have been on the market for ages. What's really worrying is that these moves seem calculated to hit the U.S., where it hurts most. For years, the U.S. took Canada for granted, assuming those northward trade routes would keep flowing smoothly. But now, Canada is teaching a harsh lesson. If you build your economy on one thing, it only takes one move from abroad to bring it tumbling down. So, what's the deal? Is this Canada's way of getting back at the U.S. for past tariffs? Perhaps it's a strategy to get a better deal in the new NAFTA negotiations? Or could it be something even more ominous? A test to see how easily the U.S. economy can be brought to its knees without firing a single shot? And if Canada can pull this off, who might be next? Maybe Mexico, the EU, or even China? It's a trillion-dollar question that's keeping CEOs up at night. Now let's break down the ground zero states. These 7 American economies are taking direct hits from Canada's trade crackdown, and the damage is already spreading like wildfire. Here's who's getting hit hardest, and why. 7th, Wisconsin. The cheese industry in the U.S., particularly in Wisconsin, is going through a tough time as Canada has abruptly halted 30% of cheese imports from the state. This situation has led to a surplus of cheese that's not being sold, and a drop in milk prices. The Canadian government has cited that Wisconsin's dairy products don't match their quality standards. However, the twist here is that Canada seems to be okay with and quickly approving the same type of dairy goods from the European Union. So, the question is this genuinely about ensuring food quality, or is there an underlying motive to undermine the dairy industry in America's heartland? Sixth, Minnesota. The medical device industry in Minnesota, worth a staggering $10 billion, is currently facing a severe downturn due to some unexpected changes in Canada's regulations. New safety certification rules are in place, which is causing a bit of a headache because they don't seem to apply to European companies in the same way. As a result, essential medical goods like pacemakers and surgical tools are stuck in Duluth, unable to reach their Canadian destinations. It's quite puzzling because Canada has been okay with these products for years. What's going on here? 5. New York. Big pharma companies are losing a lot of money because Canada is using drug approvals as a tool against large pharmaceutical companies from New York. Medicines that have been helping Canadians for a long time are now caught in a regulatory review process, which means that people are not getting the treatment they need. It's clear that Canada has quickly allowed the same drugs to be sold from China, which makes us wonder if this is some kind of response to something. The main question here is, how much further will the Canadian government go with this? 4. Illinois. Chicago's towering grain silos have become sad reminders of economic deceit as Canada blocks exports worth $2.4 billion from Illinois, which is a significant source of livelihood for the state. These exports of corn and soybeans are being turned away under the guise of new pesticide rules. It's hard not to feel suspicious when these same rules don't apply to crops coming from Brazil. To add insult to injury, Canada's supermarkets are still getting their hands on this rejected grain by importing it through Europe. This blatant loophole seems like a clear case of playing favorites, and it's easy to see what's going on here. 3. Texas. Canada just surprised Texas with a major shift in energy policy that feels like a betrayal. After many years of smooth oil trading, Alberta is now saying that Texas oil doesn't meet its environmental criteria. However, Alberta is still purchasing oil from Saudi Arabia, which has a less clean environmental profile. This unexpected move raises eyebrows as it seems like Ottawa is quietly rerouting pipelines to supply China instead. Could this be the biggest energy deception we've seen? 2. Ohio. Ohio's auto plants are screeching to a halt as Canada sabotages the cross-border supply chain. GM and Honda are canceling shifts after Canadian border agents started rejecting parts over safety concerns that magically appeared this year. But leaked documents show Canada's secretly subsidizing Mexican suppliers to replace Ohio factories. Economic warfare or just business? You decide. 1. Michigan. The unthinkable is occurring. Canada seems to be dismantling Detroit's car industry piece by piece. Thousands of completed vehicles are currently sitting at the Windsor border, unable to move due to newly implemented safety certifications that are extremely difficult to meet. The sad twist here is that these very same plants were responsible for the growth of Canada's auto sector for 100 years. This raises a serious question. Has America's most reliable ally turned into its biggest threat? Hey, if you've made it this far, huge thanks for sticking with me. I really appreciate it. If you're enjoying the video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow and keeps these deep dives coming. Alright, now let's get into the next part, because things are about to get even more interesting. The silent economic war. Is Canada weaponizing trade to cripple America? This isn't merely a disagreement about trade. It's more like Canada is sabotaging the US economy, bit by bit. Canada, who's supposed to be our good buddy in trade, is actually giving us a really tough time with our exports. It's like they're fighting us with boring old pieces of paper and rules instead of guns and bombs. And the situation? It's really bad. Take Michigan's car industry, for example. It's kind of a big deal, right? But because of Canada, it's basically stuck in traffic at the border with nowhere to go. Cars are just sitting there, waiting for some okay that never seems to come because of these new, tougher safety rules that Canada has thrown at us. And let's talk about Wisconsin's dairy farmers. Their milk is going bad because Canada says it doesn't meet their standards, but somehow European milk gets a free pass. That seems a bit fishy, doesn't it? And Texas's oil folks are not too happy either. Suddenly Canada's okay with getting oil from places like Saudi Arabia, which isn't exactly the poster child for environmental friendliness, and they're giving our oil the cold shoulder. All because of some new environmental worries that seem more like a political game than anything else. This isn't just Canada playing hardball, it's more like Canada playing dirty. What's really scary is that they've shown us our big problem without firing a single shot. We've been counting on Canada for way too much. We thought they'd always be there for us, but now we're seeing that being too dependent on them isn't so smart. It's like a knight in shining armor turning into a sneaky ninja. But hold on, it might get worse. If Canada can mess with us like this and we don't do anything about it, who's to say Mexico won't try the same thing? Or maybe the EU or Asia will catch on. And why weren't we ready for this? It's like we were sleeping on the job. The proof is all around us. Empty factories, farms that can't sell their stuff, and ports that aren't moving a thing. The question we need to ask ourselves isn't if this is happening, because it clearly is. The real question is, can we wake up and do something before it's too late? Because if Canada can cause this much trouble without us noticing, just think about what China might be learning. They're probably taking notes on how to make us fall apart without ever having to declare war. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out. Your support means the world to us. And before you go, check out the video on your screen right now. I'm sure you'll love it. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.